systems within. Should they be triggered, they could make life rather difficult for us. In light of which, pray leave the rest to me. If I am right, my royal blood should allow me to venture in unmolested. Assuming this place works like the Crystal Tower, yes, but if it doesn't, you'll be on your own. I want you to promise us that you'll get out at the first sign of trouble. I promise. Wish me luck. Why did he? I thought the Hemisphere was that small green thing. Well, nothing for it but to sit tight. Guess it was the big stadium and not this thing. I'm sure this Owens fellow was very learned, but Iconic Corruption and Overview sounds like a studium thesis. We all had to write one. Lest you wonder, mine was about the combat applications of ether. I'm nothing if not practical. Alphino's was more philosophical, of course. Political, dare I say it. He chose to write a lengthy discourse on our nation's duty to the world. A controversial subject, to say the least. He asserted that Charlayan's knowledge should rightly be used to protect all life on the star, in direct opposition to the country's cherished policy of non-intervention. Being a leading member of the Forum, our father was not happy. At the time, of course, Alphino was utterly convinced of his views and would cheerfully argue to the death with anyone who saw things differently. By which I mean the rows were long. To be fair to him, though, he's since learned to be a little more open-minded, but deep down he still holds fast to that one belief, and I admire him for it. I'd agree with him, too. I should have liked to meet young Alphino. For what it's worth, my thesis concerned the Allegan civilization as depicted in folklore. Oh, you're back? I didn't know you attended the studium. I didn't. A thesis was required to earn my Archon's mark. My peers at the students of Baldesion convinced me to write one with the promise of unfettered access to forbidden tomes. Though I considered it no more than a means to an end at the time, I will admit it was gratifying to have my efforts acknowledged. Good gods, an Archon's thesis? I shudder to imagine the work involved, but enough of about that. Is this the fruit of your foray? Yes, Owen's archive node. It was waiting for me in this chamber. A copy of his report still survives. It should be stored in this device. Shall we find out? Initializing, scanning for registered user. User not found. To proceed as a guest, please complete biometric authentication. Verifying. Authentication complete. Guest identified as member of the royal family. I am at your most humble service, your highness. It never ceases to amuse me. 'Tis but a pity the effect will not last forever. Doga and Unai said as much when they granted me this gift, but until such time as it fades, I shall use it gratefully. Search archive for Iconic Corruption. Searching, one item found, Iconic Corruption and Overview. The report is locked by the author. Please state password. Well, go on then, your highness. Tell the nice node the password. Right. Let's see. Glory be to Allag. Long live Emperor Xande? Wrong one. Just guessing. Password incorrect. Please try again. Confound it. Come now, passwords are invariably short and simple. For instance... Is she going to be correct? Password. The notion that the password could be something so inane would be laughable but not dangerously stupid. Furthermore, your conduct in the presence of His Highness is grossly inappropriate. Know your place, handmaiden. Wow, even the note had a problem with that. What did that thing just call me? It even mocked you. Wild Rose. Password incorrect again. Be warned that any further inappropriate behavior in the presence of His Highness will not be tolerated. Alright, that's it. I say we dismantle it and manually extract what we need. Now, let's not be too hasty. A single misstep and we risk losing the report altogether. I believe this may be a task for Sid and his colleagues. If anyone can coax Machina into cooperating, it is them. Come, let us bear the node back to the Rising Stones. You think him having royal blood would be able to... get past the password? Like, override it? Threat detected. Thinks I'm a threat. Should probably mention that I've yet to meet Sid since the waking up. Rambrose did send work to the ironworks, but it appears our friend has been afield on urgent business. Nevertheless, I assure you my proposal to seek his help is no pretext. However much I might look forward to seeing him again, him and everyone, come, let us be on our way. Look at him, all but running. How sweet. Still, it wouldn't do to keep him waiting, shall we? Okay, and we're going back to the Rising Stones. Gotta love teleporting. It's even smaller now. No, wait. I was just looking at it from afar. Have anything else to say? Lip. Large, low-born presence detected. What's insulting all of us? Wonderful news, Dava. Tataru contacted Sid on our behalf, and he is on his way here even as we speak. While we wait, I should like very much to hear what transpired at the Alliance Council. Would you be so kind, Cryo? As you know, the meeting was convened to discuss how best to respond to recent events in Garlemald. According to intelligence from our Domin allies, the war of succession rages on, and the Empire remains without a leader. Amidst the chaos, the Imperial legions in the provinces have begun to move, independently of the motherland. Our greatest concern to us is is the third, a legion aligned with Lord Nerva. It appears they have received substantial financial backing from House Brutus. Brutus, aren't they the ones who took in Yatsuyu and Asahi? This bodes well. Xenos' movements, meanwhile, remain shrouded in mystery. We're hoping that Thancred and Urianger will be able to shed some light on his activities when they return. Till such time as they do, the Allied leaders feel it will be unwise to interfere in the conflict. And so, thanks in part to the Imperial withdrawal from Gimlet, they have decided to turn their attention to the primal problem once more. Working with friendly factions among the beast tribes, they hope to reopen dialogue and explore new avenues for peace. Given the timing, I suspect they wish to put their respective houses in order ahead of a decisive clash with the Empire. Whatever their intent, this is not a problem easily solved. The Lominsons, in particular, struggle in their efforts, and Alphino and Ishtola have been called upon to aid them. So long as we are dealing with the tempered, I'm afraid no amount of dialogue will avail us. But if we can develop a treatment for tempering, then anything is possible. Which is why we must succeed. And on that cheery note, why not make yourselves comfortable in Dawn's respite? I'll show Sid in as soon as he arrives. Anything else to say, archive node? Blip bloop warning. His Highness is exhibiting elevated blood pressure. Sid, at long last. Gonna fanboy again over Sid? Sid. Forgive us for not coming to see you sooner, my friend. As you may have heard, we've had our hands full. In our defense, you are up rather early. I was under the impression you'd be slumbering a while longer. I would have been had you not fulfilled your promise. I still struggle with that idea. From where I stand, the secrets of traversing time and space seem exactly as unfathomable as they have ever did. But if an alternate version of myself has already laid them bare, I dare say that frees me up to concentrate on other endeavors. Speaking of which, you wanted me to help with something? What is it? Well, a treatment for tempering. And for the next step, you need to find the password for this Olagon's report. Just so, with nary a clue to guide us, we could be here forever and still not guess correctly, and thus we turn to you. Well, I'd love to say that we could help you, so I will. Once suitably configured, a Magitech terminal should make short work of identifying the password. I knew I could rely on you. Now, anticipating that it might be of use, I took the liberty of borrowing a tombstone from Rambrose. It contains an Allagan dictionary. Good thinking. I'll transfer the information to a terminal and set it to work right away. Was it already done? Ah, looks like it's finished. Let's see. Freedom. The password is freedom. Ah, short and simple, just as I said. Would you care to do the honors, Your Highness? I would, milady. Node, open the report entitled Icon Corruption. Password freedom. Opening report. This report seeks to provide an overview of the mechanism by which icons corrupt and bind men to their will. The phenomenon we call corruption refers to the alteration of the ether of the soul. Said ether ordinarily exists in equilibrium, no one element being more prominent than the other. But when a subject is exposed to the ether of an icon, this changes, the soul taking on the properties of the entity in question. By way of an example, exposure to the ether of the fiend Sephiroth would cause the subject's ether to become aligned with the element of earth. As a consequence, the subject would attain heightened affinity with earth-aspected magics, as well as preternatural levels of endurance. Repeated exposure would further enhance these traits, ultimately altering the subject's very flesh. The changes undergone by the subjects are not solely attributable to elemental alignment, however. Further testing has determined that the subject's soul becomes umbrally charged, or stagnant during the process. This stagnation of the soul has the effect of diluting the sense of self, rendering the subject vulnerable to the will of the icon, the thoughts of whom come to consume their entire existence. In this manner do the corrupted become worshippers of the icon, their prayers serving to further empower the entity. Having discerned the mechanism of icon corruption, my colleagues and I set out to develop a material capable of shielding one from its effects, an endeavor in which we were successful, albeit at a great cost. In the course of testing, many of my assistants, good men and women all, fell victim to corruption, and in accordance with protocol, they were summarily put to death. I subsequently submitted a proposal to investigate potential cures for corruption, but it was rejected, deemed non-essential by Lord Amon. Though I knew it would be fruitless, I protested the decision, and for my impertinence I have been stripped of rank and title, and will shortly be expelled from this facility. In all likelihood, this report will be expunged from the archives. Nonetheless, I record it in hope that one day someone will undertake to do that which I could not, and find a cure for the victims of iconic corruption in recording. Sounds a lot like what was going on in the first. So not even the Oligons were able to find a cure, or rather, were not given the chance to do so. One cannot help but wonder what motivated Lord Amon's decision. That more importantly, this confirms that stagnation of the soul is indeed the problem, and Angelo can remedy that. True, yet were we simply to reanimate a tempered soul, I fear it would do naught to diminish the individual's fanatical faith. Indeed, it may well intensify it. No, we would somehow need to suppress the primal's hold over the subject at the same time, or risk them ever remaining its thrall. If we could only make them remember who they were. But of course, memory transference. The process has the effects of compartmentalizing memories, separating them into manageable bundles, if you will. By adapting the technique, it may be possible to archive select reanimation, that is, limit the effects to only those memories that existed prior to tempering. Through thus restoring the sense of self, we could theoretically drown out the incitements of false faith, which had come to dominate the individual's thoughts. I see, the theory seems sound, and our experience treating the light corrupted would help us to identify suitable memories for reanimation. But are you confident you can adapt memory transference as required? I seem to recall your attempts to do so while trying to bring us home, culminating in literal bloodletting. They did, you are right. Despite my best efforts, I could not recreate the mechanism. And I concede that the rather clumsy compromise I reached would not provide the basis for your cure. Then perhaps it's best that we consider another approach. Your doubts are understandable, but this time I believe we have reason to be confident. You see, nodes such as this were built with the ability to simulate magics, which leads me to believe that it may be capable of performing simulations of the transference technique. If so, we would be able to conduct years' worth of tests within the span of a few days. In theory, it would be no different from how we identified the password. But it'll take more calculating power, a lot more. I honestly couldn't say whether our equipment would be up to the task. Tell me, Sid, why do you suppose Owen locked his report behind a password? To keep it from prying eyes, of course. Why else? Wait, a password that could be guessed by anyone with leisure and a dictionary wouldn't keep it from a person minded to look. No, he wanted his report to be seen by those who strive for freedom. Not unlike the members of a certain distinguished engineering collective. I believe their motto was freedom through technology or some such. You two, round up as many Magitech terminals as you can find and bring them to the workshop. Right away, Chief. Things are about to get very busy. Luckily, we have you to help, eh? Right, while Graha, Tia, and I configure the terminals, I want the rest of you to procure supplies. Namely ceruleum to fuel the terminals and ice shards to keep them cool. The more we have of both, the better. Leave the ice shards to me. I'll round up some adventurers and go on the gathering spree. In that case, I'll trust Dava and Alice with the ceruleum. Here's a promissory note for each of you. Take them to the Sky Steel manufacturer in Ishgard and the ceruleum processing plant in Thanalane. People there will give you what you need. Yours is a well-known face in the Holy See, I believe. If it's all the same to you, I'll head to Thanalane. Sounds good. Haven't been in Ishgard in a while either. Easy to get to, right? Let me see. Up there? Go up. It's in this building, I think. You stand in the sky seal manufactory. What is it you require? I need this stuff. So you are after ceruleum. In that case, please present the note to our engineer at the airship landing. We shall be glad to assist you. Oh, now I have to run all the way to the airship landing? Let's see. It's all the way over here. So we need to teleport. Closest crystal. There it is. To go to this place. Oh damn it, I didn't get to read that. Ceruleum, you've come to the right man. Fair warning though, the price has shot up on account of the uncertainty with the Empire. So I hope you've got the coin. I got a note. Well now, a promissory note from the ironworks? Don't see many of these. Now, not that it's a problem, it's as good as gold to me. Going on here? Oh, it's them. What was his name again?
My friend!
Oh,
After
Elric.
the disappointment of not seeing you in Alamigo, what good fortune to chance upon you here of all places.
Just a big bird.
As you may have heard, the Allied nations are making a renewed effort to address the primal problem. To that end, have I invited the chieftain of the Vanu to Ishgard, that we might together plot a course. Since the war with the Empire appears to be nearing its conclusion, I would also like to call upon Estinian's lance. Alas, he is, as ever, a difficult man to find.
Well, I guess you're going to tell me to find him.
I am informed he recently paid a visit to the Rising Stones. Should he happen to do so again, be sure to pass on my regards, won't you? But tell me, what business brings you to our fair city this day?
Ceruleum.
A cure for tempering.
That
You
too.
never cease to amaze me. Until now, our only hope has been prevention, our every failure irrevocable. But this would rewrite the rules of engagement. It could end the cycle of bloodshed. Very well. You shall have all the ceruleum we can provide, and an airship with which to transport it.
Looks like I might not have needed that note anyway. He just gave permission.
In this matter, you may count on Ishgard's full support.